everybody, it's Safi and Marco, dish out on the movies. And guess what? We're still on Peter Boyle. And we have another movie today. It came out in 1989 and it is called The Dream Team. Which, if that sounds familiar to you, you think about it and you tell me or leave in the comments what you think that name also refers to. I thought it was going to be a sports movie, like about hockey, like the Lake Placid Olympics, or when the American team beat the Soviet, and that was just like unheard of.
I just saw the poster where the reason why I picked it was I saw the poster and I just saw Michael Keaton, Christopher Lloyd, Peter Boyle, you have a good cast. That's why I picked it. I wasn't even thinking about the title when I picked it.
Yeah, so, but when I heard the title, I was thinking sports right off the bat. So Marco said no. And so I know I've heard that from somewhere else, and then he told me, and so I'm not going to say. So you leave a comment down to the comment section. You tell me what you think the Dream Team. If you haven't seen the movie or you haven't seen it yet.
I'll just give you a hint. Okay. Think about decapitation and
blood. Lots of blood and kniving. Stabbing.
He was just saying hello to them with a knife.
Okay, no more. No more hints.
Okay, that's a hint.
Okay, well, like Marco said, when he looked at the listing for the movie, he saw that there are other stars: Christopher Lloyd, Michael Keaton, then there's Peter Boyle, and then there's the guy who plays the heavy-set one. He's like barely functional. They're all, I guess, supposed to be. They've all been diagnosed, I think, it sounds like from what they said, as schizophrenics. And that doesn't mean you're dysfunctional at all. Because if you're on medication, it's controllable, but you have to stay on the medication. But for some reason, the heavy-set guy, and I'm sorry, I don't remember his name in the movie. Maybe Marco does.
The heavy-set guy.
In real life, his name was Stephen First. He was diabetic.
What was his name in the movie?
And he's passed away.
What was his name in the movie? Shortstop?
I don't know. He wore a baseball cap, and it was his favorite. It's like identified him. He couldn't part with it. He loved it. And he wore an Hawaiian type shirt.
Okay, this movie, I'm going to do a little tiny summary. Let's talk about this without spoilers, because we want people to watch it. We don't want this to just be spoiler city until the end. This movie is about, you have 4 mental patients, and they are closely monitored by this doctor, and he's a weirdo. He's really queer. He's really he's like, you know what I mean, Safi? Like he's
very
like
unconventional.
He's very enthusiastic, and he's like Patch Adams of this mental hospital. And it's funny because that's the guy from Better Call Saul, and also in Monk season 1, he also plays a doctor in an asylum. So I thought that was interesting. You're going to get to see that this year. But he wants to take them to a baseball game, and I guess he doesn't really say, but I guess it's some sort of an experiment to see if, like, taking them to a baseball game and letting them have that experience will trigger some sort of a change in them. It will make them. Did you get that, Safi?
Yeah. It was some kind of. They hadn't. I don't think they'd ever been allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But they trusted this doctor. He was unconventional, but there's nothing wrong with being unconventional when you're working with people who have a permanent mental disorder, which that's what schizophrenia is.
I'm just describing him. I'm not saying it was a good or bad thing.
Well, I thought it was fine. It was good.
And so he takes them to isn't it New York?
Yeah, they're in New York.
He takes them. Yeah, that's right.
Got 2 baseball teams there, so
he takes them into New York, and as you would imagine, problems ensue when one of them wants to go to the bathroom, and the doctor takes him to an alleyway to go to the bathroom. Okay, Safi, I'm doing the
gas
summary.
station.
I'm doing the summary.
There's no place to go.
That's not relevant. He takes him to the alleyway to go to the bathroom, and he goes to the bathroom, and the doctor accidentally witnesses a murder. And then the murderers come out and knock him out, and they think he's dead and everything, and the doctor is taken to the hospital while all the mental patients are free to do whatever they want. And so the whole movie is them trying to figure out what happened to the doctor, trying to save him from these killers, and also just trying to survive in New York in like one night, the span of one night. And so
it's unbelievable.
This movie, now Safi, we both, I think that this is probably the one where we have agreed the most, because the movie started off on a bad note. It started off and I was like, ugh, like I know,
I almost thought I wasn't going to watch it. I didn't care for the beginning.
2 hours, this.
It wasn't like, I'm not talking about an intro scene. I'm talking about like a span of time, and it seemed to drag on. And I thought, God, why did Marco pick this? And he said he'd watched it long before me. So which means that he knew the whole movie before I even started it. So he knew that it would be better. And so I said, Marco, this is really boring. I can't stand it. And so anyway, I stuck it out because we were committed to doing this. So I'm glad I did.
Yeah, it gets better and better as it goes along.
Yes, definitely.
I will say there's a little dip at the very end because it kind of rushes at the end to get it over with. And I kind of thought that was probably the biggest flaw with the film, because near the end it gets very traditional and very conventional. The whole movie prides itself on being unconventional, and it's funny because it does what the Addams Family movies fail to do, which is, I said, the Addams Family is about an unconventional family, a weird family, and so therefore the movie and plot should be unconventional too. Well, this movie actually has an unconventional plot, and it's unconventional. It's unconventional almost the whole time, except for like the last part of the movie, the ending. And I think that was probably the worst part. But Safi, now what did you like about this movie? Because, no spoilers.
Well, I'd say there was a lot of humor.
Really?
There was a lot
in a comedy movie. There's humor.
Well, we've seen where there isn't.
Oh yeah.
And then there's one observation. I'll just say that Peter Boyle, years ago, it doesn't seem like it's like that as much as it used to be. There used to be actors who just played characters. So they would be in the supporting cast, and they would play some significant, supporting, interesting, weird...
Yeah, like the screaming woman from Frankenstein movies.
Yeah, but she's played leading characters too.
Really?
But I'm talking
that annoying woman who went like
Cloris Leachman?
No.
Oh.
The real Frankenstein movies. The woman who went like
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yuck. Anyway,
you said.
I think that Peter Boyle is mainly like that. He's kind of like a character actor, but not really. He's a supporting. He's like part of an orchestra. The orchestra is the whole cast, and he did have a main part, but his part didn't shine or stand out as much as like Michael Keaton. And then Christopher Lloyd, he had a pretty big chunk of that too. And the other guy, Steve, his name is Durst in real life, the man who passed away. There's actually an interesting story about him, and I could say it at the end. Nothing to do with the movie. It's not going to reveal anything, but anyway, he seems to be just everything that we've seen so far. He has not really, except maybe that one where he plays a very conspiracy-oriented, racist
There's not
person.
a conspiracy-oriented.
Well, anyway, he's a racist kind of person and has a lot of guns. And that seemed to be, out of everything, even the Frankenstein movie, he plays a supporting person. He does an actor,
and
not a main actor. And this movie was no exception.
And I think that that's sort of the unfortunate part about him and his career is that it seems like, I don't know, but he just got shafted to the side, and he's almost like, I don't know, like a tuba player in a band or something, because people just focus on the trumpet players and the flute players and the percussion. They don't really focus on the tuba, and it feels kind of like that, where he could, I don't understand. It's really bizarre to me, the fact that he doesn't have movies where he's the leading person, like where he's the main character. Like, it's really weird. It's almost like living in an alternate universe where he didn't get those parts. And so I think that that's like a really big flaw with his career, is that he was not given the main roles.
But another observation I just have specifically about the movie is that there were a few emotional moments or scenes where some really true, heartwarming, heartstrings pulling event happened, and it amidst the comedy, that was a good thing, and it was good. I really liked it. I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was very welcome. Instead of just making a pure comedy, to have these real life, like things that could happen in real life, emotional events that would make you go, oh, or be sad or something.
It's a better movie about mental illness than all the serious ones about mental illness.
Yeah, and that's probably a good thing. Because,
like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This is way better than that.
Well, that was kind of dark.
And that movie's
is based on a book, though.
It's overly serious. It's like, just completely devoid of any, they try to have humor throughout that movie, but, it's like a
underneath it, it's dark.
It's like a punch in the face. And this movie is more like, I don't know, like someone giving you a Snickers bar and saying, let me tell you about mental illness.
Well, I think it was like people either get scared, or they think it's a joke, and it was kind of like they were trying to make people more accepting that people who have a mental illness are just like you and me, and that they have, one of them had a promising career, and another one had maybe a career, but he also had a family, children, and a wife, and another one had a military career. I mean, they weren't they weren't, yeah.
It was a lie, remember?
It was? He was never in the military at all?
Safi, it was a lie.
Okay, well, anyway, the other ones were not a lie, and so they can be people too. They could have had full lives, and just, if you have schizophrenia, it's not something that somebody else causes. It's actually a physical problem that happens with your neurotransmitters. I used to work in a mental health place, and that's why I know a little bit about it, and I've seen it a million times.
Yeah, I mean, Safi, this is a way better mental health movie than Joker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so people need to watch this movie instead of watching Joker for the millionth time.
That's why it was a good thing that the doctor tried this unconventional thing, and that he was just unconventional. He was treating them all like people. He's respecting them, giving them respect.
The only thing I would say to that, though, is that they're the ones who helped themselves in the movie.
That's true.
And so you really didn't see his...
but they thought about him.
I guess it's just because of that, because they liked him, so that helped them motivate them to become better in certain ways. I can't... Safi, stop. Focus on a review.
I am. I'm just
no, you're
thinking.
not.
I'm thinking about. They would mention.
Were you pointing at the time?
No,
Fuck off.
I'm pointing at the bird. We're right, but it's a woodpecker, a different one. Oh, I know. Okay. Anyway, made me lose my train of thought. They were thinking about that they had made progress, or that they were getting along, and that it was with their treatment, and they felt like they were getting better, or that they were just doing better, or felt better, something, and they attributed to this doctor, and that's why they wanted to help him. So that's what they were thinking about.
There are a lot of parts in the movie where you think one thing is going to happen, and then they immediately trip you and make you go, oh shit, actually something else is going to happen. And I thought that was really... This movie was really well written for a movie. I mean, no one's talked about this movie before, anywhere. And I've been in tons of movie groups, tons of people. There are thousands and thousands of people throughout the years, different movie channels on YouTube. No one's talked about this movie, which is very bizarre. It's very weird, because this movie came out the year Michael Keaton did Batman. And so people should have thought, like, oh, look, there's Batman, I gotta go see a movie with him. So I don't understand why this movie didn't get more attention. I think that's another issue, is that people don't really know about this movie. I mean, this review probably won't even get like 10 views. It'll probably only get 5 or something, because people don't take chances with these smaller movies, and they really should, because when you search through a lot of smaller movies, you find a good movie. And see, we had how many shitty Peter Boyle movies, Safi?
All of them.
Yeah.
Well, I still have there's a place in my heart for the Frankenstein, just because of the cast.
Yeah.
And if you watch the
Not
comedy, what do you call it, the blooper reel, you'll see how it just makes you think fondly of, because I guess probably almost all, or they all are dead now. Well, no, not the blonde woman.
Joe is okay. Joe was okay, but these movies have been a really poor choice of movies to watch.
There's nothing to write home about, but I think the thing is, this is what I like. I like to try out new things, movies that we've never heard of, and I feel like somewhere along the line there's a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, you found it in The Dream Team.
Right. It's
a hilarious movie. There's a lot of character and emotion, and it was probably the best written movie out of the ones that we saw too. And I think that's another thing, is that even though it's a comedy, that doesn't mean that necessarily it's downgraded and it's only like it's just a comedy. Like, no, it's actually a real movie. And I say that because at these award ceremonies, they don't even acknowledge comedies, and they sort of pretend like comedies and horror films don't exist,
which is really unfair.
And this movie, it was a real movie. And you've seen the types of movies that get awards all the time, Safi. Yeah. This movie should have gotten awards too, because it was that good. I would definitely watch it again. It's a practically flawless film. It's very enjoyable, and it probably you could show it to the whole family. I mean, it's really not a.
It has R, but I'm not sure what the
It's
R
rated
is.
R?
I think so.
No, I think it's PG-13.
No, I don't think so.
It better if it's rated R, then what is it? Just
Let
for
me check real quick.
is it for Peter Boyle's Boyles?
Well, I was thinking his
Because at the very beginning
got
of the
naked.
movie, for the second time now, we've seen Peter Boyle get naked, which is hilarious. The fact that we accidentally chose two movies where he got naked.
Well, he must not be shy about that.
Well, it shows that back then they would have, because for years and years you've had all these feminazis complain and say, well, women get naked in movies all the time, so why don't men get naked in movies? And it's like, well, what about Peter Boyle? He's gotten naked twice now. Twice.
PG-13.
He's gotten naked twice now. And but still you're complaining because that's all you want to do. With this movie, there really is no complaint, practically.
It was just the beginning that was a little, I don't know, dry.
It was very dry.
Either dry or it just, I was just about ready to tear up a ton of paper.
But it did have something really good about it in it that happened that we'll talk about in spoilers. Or I guess we could. No, I'll save it to spoiler.
No. Oh, well, okay. All right. So, should we do our food review?
Yeah. What's your food rating, Safi?
Well, I gave it a Mexican pizza, and the reason I did that is we watched at the beginning. It wasn't so good. It was just kind of dry, just not for very long, but long enough to go, why am I watching this movie? And this is what's happened at Taco Bell, which is where you get the Mexican pizza. They decided to discontinue it. So we go there, and we've gone there and gone there and gone there, and either I get sick, my food is cold, and it just hasn't agreed with me. And I've given up. But Marco still gets things that he likes. But anyway.
I try to, but Taco Bell is all these restaurants we've talked about, they're notorious for bad food. But this is a restaurant where it's notorious for just taking food off the menu.
Yeah. And so I feel like this time where Marco says he just read on the internet that it was coming back. The Mexican pizza was coming back in April. In case any of you out there like it and you're interested in it, well, now you know it's coming back in April, we hope. At least that's what was said. And so I feel like that's the rest of the movie. Having that Mexican pizza and eating it and liking it and continuing on, enjoying my food when I go there. But right now, it's like the beginning of the movie. It's dry. And I'm not even eating the food there. So that's my review. What's yours?
Oh, that review made no sense at all.
Well,
okay.
I really, lately, I don't know what to say.
Because you've seen the whole movie now, so you can say, it's a good movie.
Yes.
Are you really
and
going
when Mexican pizza comes and I get to eat it and I enjoy it like I did before.
You include that first part where you don't have the Mexican pizza, which if you watch the movie now, you're not going to say, I don't like the beginning. You're going to say, I can't wait to get to the rest of the movie, so who cares?
Whatever. Go ahead.
I will go ahead. So I was kind of thinking about what to give this movie because it's hard. It's an ensemble movie, kinda. It's really a Michael Keaton movie. This would have been perfect for a Michael Keaton week. He's the star of the movie, and really it's just because he's the only one who's semi there. Christopher Lloyd thinks he's a doctor. He thinks that he's this. He thinks he's that. Peter Boyle thinks he's Jesus, and the shortstop guy, the guy with diabetes in real life.
Oh yeah, well, let me forget that.
he can't even talk, or he just says baseball stuff.
Yeah.
And so
he's the most dysfunctional.
And so Michael Keaton is really the only one who is semi there, and so he's the one who's able to talk the most to people and interact. So that's really why he's the star. It's not just because they like Michael Keaton or anything. It's because of the illnesses they have. I thought, like, it's got to be an ensemble food. And I think about Halloween. Or I think about fun and Halloween. And every year around Halloween, what do we get, Safi?
Candy.
What kind of candy, Safi?
All kinds.
What kind?
We like to get this peanut butter taffy, but it's
No, we don't. I don't eat that. What do we like to get and eat? What kind of candy, Safi?
I don't know, mints, Reese's peanut butter cups.
What else?
Licorice.
God, Safi.
Go ahead, you say it.
Child's play.
Oh yeah.
God, Safi.
Well, I don't think. Oh, we did get it.
Yeah, we did.
It was very expensive for
Yeah.
a while. It was like $14.99 for this monstrous bag, but we didn't need all that, so I wouldn't do it. I was holding out for the. I think it was $5.99 bag.
Well,
it's a smaller bag.
That's my rating for this movie: is a Child's Play bag. Now, what's in that bag? So, I mean, let's just.
There's Tootsie Rolls.
Michael.
Three kinds.
Michael Keaton is the Tootsie Rolls. He's clearly the star of the show.
There's fruit ones, like orange and lime and
the fruit
lemon.
ones are Peter Boyle because he's very fruity in the movie.
And then there's Tootsie Pops.
Tootsie Pops are Christopher Lloyd because, he had that character, that real depth to him where he has a family and everything. And so it because at the beginning you just think, honestly, I thought he was going to be the bad part of the movie because he was annoying at first. But over the movie, he quickly becomes, like, really, really good. And, that happens with Tootsie Pops. You eat them and eat them and eat them to get to that Tootsie in the center, and you eat the Tootsie with the pop and everything, and it's really good. And then, what else? Oh, yeah, Dots. Well, the shortstop guy, he's the Dots, obviously. And it's really just merely because he doesn't have the ability to speak that much. And
he was the key witness to what happened to the doctor.
Yeah, conveniently,
and that was problematical.
That was really
he just
good.
Couldn't tell them.
Yeah.
They're sitting there waiting for the doctor, wondering what happened to him, and the guy can't tell them.
They waited until nighttime.
Dark. It was dark, like at midnight, and you think, where is the mental facility? What are they doing all this time? Don't they call and say something's happened, something's wrong? I mean...
Well, so let's talk about spoilers. First off, Christopher Lloyd, at first you think he's this annoying doctor, and you're like, oh, God, is he going to be like this the whole movie? But then you find out he's actually a mental patient, and he's not a doctor at all. I thought that was great. And there were so many twists like that in the movie. Like, there's one part in the movie where Christopher Lloyd, everyone else has been arrested, and he is the last one left, and he says, it's all up to me now. And that's a big cliche in movies, where a bunch of characters will get into trouble, and then one of them has to save them. Well, in this case, Christopher Lloyd, he literally walks right into jail, and gets effed up and gets defeated. And so there's none of that of him saving the day all by himself. They have to work together. And so there's so many cool twists like that really set this movie apart. What do you have to say, Safi? Spoiler related.
God. Well,
Peter's Boyle and him stripping for the church.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Well, they have this little storefront church, and it's a black church. And what I mean by that is African Americans were the only people in there, and the priest, or I guess it's preacher, was African American, and giving the stirring speech, but it was the music, there was a woman singing, there was other people with her singing, and
then Peter Boyle walks in, and
he joins the group. He's very enthusiastic, and then he gets up and because they want to know if anybody is what's it called?
Born again.
Well, no, there was something else.
It doesn't matter.
Whatever.
He gives a speech, and he starts stripping while he's speaking.
Because he gave everything up. He talked about his prior life, which was he was an advertising person, a corporate person. And he gave it all up. Maybe he had a breakdown.
That was so funny. And I love getting all these hints about their lives before they were in the mental asylum, because that was another thing. You know, whenever they do these mental illness movies, they never really show the people functioning in normal society, or they never, like, show that they could. They just show them, like, they're in a straitjacket and they're laughing and they're acting like Safi acts all the time.
Oh, come on.
That's all they show. You know, they would never do this, what they do in this movie, where it's like Michael Keaton had a girlfriend with a boy's haircut, and
that was Lorraine Bracco from I thought, well, she is really familiar. It was a young Lorraine Bracco from
what? I don't know.
You know, the show about the
Killing
family.
I saw she was in The Sopranos.
Right,
on
Sopranos.
her IMDb, because I thought she looked familiar.
Yep, that's her.
But
she was Mrs. Soprano.
But he had a girlfriend and everything, and then Christopher Lloyd had a family. And who even knows about the shortstop silent guy? But then they also showed the villains of the movie. They were pretty one-dimensional, but it doesn't matter. They were police.
They were stereotypes, actually.
They were police, and it's like it showed, like, you know, they're the ones who should be in the asylum because they killed someone. Yeah. And these people, they never kill anyone or hurt anyone or anything. They're just have health problems that make them so that they're a little retarded at certain points. I mean, Peter Boyle.
Well, removing his clothes, stripping in front of a bunch of people.
He probably had some of the funniest jokes in the movie. Like, there was one part, where was that, Safi, where they were in a room or something, or asking for a blessing, and then Peter Boyle says, "He gives it to you," because he's talking about himself, like he gives people a blessing. He was just so delusional. And there's one point where there's a guy on a hospital bed, and Peter Boyle touches his head and tells him to walk, and he gets up, and then he immediately falls, and all these people are running to help him. And you know, he probably had the funniest jokes in the movie, even though Michael Keaton was more prominent. I really thought Peter Boyle was the funniest, but I really liked them all a lot. Like, I liked the silent guy. It's just that he didn't have much to him. He just had the problem that he was silent, and so he had to talk at some points, try to at least. And so, yeah. Anything else, Safi?
Well, I wanted to say that the guy who played the baseball cap, Hawaiian shirt guy.
Just call him Shortstop.
Shortstop. He had a definite health problem in real life, and I don't know if it was during the movie, after it was over, or whatever. He was having failing kidneys, and somebody from the movie staff or somebody else who he knew, it was somebody everybody knew, not some stranger. It didn't sound like. They donated a kidney to him, and if they hadn't done that, they actually prolonged his life, and because he would have died. And they prolonged his life, and it saved him from having to get dialysis. At least probably it put it off for a very long time. So I thought that was very interesting, but he was actually ill. probably when he made the movie. So,
Really?
yeah.
Well, he kind of seemed like it, but I just thought he was a good actor.
Well, he may have not felt well.
Really?
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see some behind-the-scenes stuff, although I don't know if there'll be anything since it's such a
It's
small
1989,
movie.
so it's a long time ago.
And people need... And what should
33
people
years
watch
ago.
this movie, Safi? Should
Oh,
they
yeah.
watch it?
Please take a chance and watch this movie. We watched it on Amazon. I don't know where else you can watch it, but if you want to take that chance and do that, then go right ahead because it's worth it.
Yeah,
And
it's a very good movie.
Like I said at the very beginning, you may not care for it, but it will get better and better and better and better, and it really is good. And it's fun to see these actors and they're doing their ensemble performances. And if you like this video, press the like button. And if you would like to become a subscriber,
I met Christopher Lloyd.
That's right. We welcome you with open arms if you want to be a subscriber. We're always willing to discuss about these movies. If you, if our review encourages you to see this, then let us know what you thought of it and or any other thoughts you have. Okay?
Goodbye, everybody!